It is another year, and guess what? There's another new Avenger out there on the street. The latest bike to join the Avenger family tree is the new Avenger 160. Yes, Bajaj has gone down on displacement as the new motorcycle is a replacement for the Bajaj Avenger 180. Now, despite the inclusion of ABS, the new motorcycle is cheaper than its predecessor. So the key question is, can the new motorcycle impress despite the drop in displacement? The biggest update on the new motorcycle is the 160cc motor. This isn't an all-new engine and is in fact a hybrid of the Avenger 180's motor and that of the Pulsar NS 160. It still remains a basic 2-valve motor with air cooling, unlike the Pulsar offering. However, the impressive bit is that the new bikes still manage to almost match the Avenger 180's power and torque figures. The Avenger 160 feels at home doing urban speeds and the motor is very tractable for city riding. Yes, it isn't the quickest motorcycle off the line as seen in our road test. However, compared to the Avenger 180, there is hardly any difference in terms of performance, which is a great thing. Out on the highway, the motorcycle struggles, as once you cross the 80 kph mark, the motor feels vibey and buzzy. The 5-speed gearbox does a good job and clutch action is also very light. Now for the big question, kitna deti hai? Out on the highway, the Avenger 160 managed 54 km per litre, which dropped down to 47 kmpl in the city. Now these figures are disappointing as we expected the new motorcycle to be more frugal than the Avenger 180. Now, before moving further, I have a question for you. Can you guess the number of variants of the Avenger that went on sale in India? If you think you know the answer, write to us in the comment section. The underpinnings of the Avenger 160 are nearly identical to the Avenger 180s. This means frame, dimensions, suspension and braking hardware is exactly same, and so is the 150 kg curb weight. In the city, the Avenger 160 feels quick on its feet and filtering through traffic is an easy affair. And even around flowing corners, the bike felt natural. Talking about suspension, it is set on the softer side, which means you can ride over potholes and minor bumps rather easily. However, the rear does have a tendency to bottom out over harsh bumps. Apart from the suspension, the thick seat cushion handles some of the absorption duties as well and doesn't transmit too many of the jolts to the rider. A major addition on the Avenger 160 is the inclusion of a single-channel ABS, which would help riders in sticky situations. The front disc brake offers good bite, and in terms of braking performance, the Avenger 160 is much better than the Avenger 180. However, we wouldn't have minded paying extra for a rear disc brake as well. The riding posture of the new motorcycle is exactly similar to the Avenger 180. You get forward set foot pegs and flat handlebar being an urban motorcycle. However, there is one big problem, and that is the foot pegs, as both of them are positioned differently. So if you're a tall rider, the left hand side handlebar touches your knees while taking a U-turn on the left hand side, but the same doesn't happen while taking a U-turn on the right hand side. And speaking about U-turns, the Avenger 160 doesn't have a wide turning radius as seen on normal cruisers. If I were to hide the center panel, there's no way one could distinguish the Avenger 160 from the Avenger 180. In fact, the headlight, fuel tank, wheels and even the graphics on the new motorcycle is similar to the one as seen on the Avenger 180. The cruiser has been equipped with a single-port instrument console with an analog speedometer and a digital readout for details such as the trip meter and the odometer. The fuel gauge and the telltale lights have been positioned on the fuel tank, which means it is off the rider's field of vision. Also, the small mask on the headlight only adds to the aesthetics and has no functional use. Switchgear quality is average and reminds me of the Discover, while the overall build quality ensures that you have no doubt that the bike has been built on a budget with lots of visible welds. The entry-level Avenger still remains the most affordable cruiser that you can buy in India. In fact, with the new Avenger 160, Bajaj has taken the bar for aggressive pricing a notch up. Despite the addition of a single channel ABS, the new motorcycle is Rs 6,000 cheaper than the Avenger 180. Apart from the value proposition, the Avenger 160 delivers everything that you expect from an entry-level urban cruiser. Yes, it doesn't have the long legs for highway cruising, but for that, you have its 220cc sibling. However, one question remains unanswered. You see, the Avenger story came to a culmination this year with the Endgame after a span of 22 movies over 10 years. And as for the Bajaj Avenger, it has been in production for the past 14 years. So is the new motorcycle the endgame for the Avenger? Share your opinions in the comment section.